STB as in Balenciaga podcast, aka Secure the Bag. I'm your host, Rachel / Ruby, whatever you want to call me, my real name or my stripper name. So last week's episode 2, was my first time reading from like all these blogs that I wrote when I was first getting started, ranging anywhere from 2019 to 2022. So basically when I first started in 2018, did I say 2018 first or did I say 2019? Okay, yeah, 2019, right? I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little slow. So 2018 is a little bit of a blur. I still remember a lot, but that's when I was working in San Francisco where I first started, where I was like, first started day shift, little guppy in the ocean, and then I started to emerge through like the waves of stripping. So I was like daytime and nighttime, kind of like in my dolphin phase. And then I moved to Vegas in 2019, and that's where I really became a fucking shark. So it's a process, you know? And if you guys have any questions about 2018 and like the experiences that I had there, I would love to share them. I definitely remember a good majority of them. And there's some fucking crazy shit. I mean, people think Vegas is probably dirty, which it is. But San Francisco, bruh, that shit is fucking nasty. At least some of it. I would have this girl that actually was like, I was pretty cool with her. She taught me a lot of shit when I first started dancing. Me and her, we worked, I want to say New Year's Eve day, because we were still daytime, New Year's Eve day, 2018 going into 2019. And no one was really there, but we had like made a bet, like who can make the most, like who can get the most dances. And mind you, she was like a vet, like she was really good. So she taught me a lot, and she also recommended one of the clubs that I ended up working at in Austin, Texas, which was a fucking phenomenal recommendation. Like I think I mentioned in my first podcast, if I didn't know Vegas existed, I would have went to Austin and stayed there, because Austin's money is like unheard of. Like when I tell people how much you can make in Austin, they don't believe me. They think it's all Dallas and Houston, but really it's fucking Austin, okay? But yeah, there's some crazy shit. I remember we were at this club at night, and she told me, she was like, yeah, you know that girl, blah, 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 that like works here? And I was like, yeah. She was like, I was doing a room, and like the rooms are like next to each other, but there's a wall, but like kind of in a bathroom, like where there's stalls, there's still like the ceiling. And if you were to step on the toilet, you can look over and see the person next to you, which I hope most of you guys don't fucking do. But she was like, yeah, I was like standing on the couch and I could see over, and she was sucking somebody's dick. And I was like, oh, she sucks dick? People can suck dick in here? That's fucking crazy. And it was just like hilarious. So shout out to her. I don't mention names in here. I mention cities. I also don't mention clubs. I just like to keep it private. Also, in the case like someone ever wants to come for me or sue me or some shit, I don't want nobody assuming it's them. You can assume, yeah, but I'm not claiming anything, okay? Anyways, so let's get started. Last week, I basically talked about like my first month that I actually started keeping track of these blogs was in 2019. It was in April. So this is still in April. And I think this is one of my actual like reflections, because I read 2 yesterday. One of them was basically a reflection of the night, and then the other one was kind of like tips that I did the next day. So this one I think is a reflection. Let's see, because mind you, I haven't read these since I wrote them. So here we go. My customer approach that makes me the most money. So tonight I had my best night in stripper history. Oh my God, this is my best night. Well, at the time it was my best night in stripper history. This was in April of 2019. Oh my God, I hella remember this night. Okay. So tonight I had my best night in stripper history. Over 4K from one person. How fucking crazy is that? It's almost funny, because just a couple days ago I was starting to tell myself I'm starting to not like the weekends. I was telling myself it was because of the fact that it's summer and there's a lot of quantity but no quality. Blah, blah, fucking blah. Bullshit. That was my self-pity mindset taking control, because I guess I wasn't making the consistent $1,000 and up every night. Yet, within the last 3 days before, I had made under 1K only once. See what happens when you start to value yourself? You make more but expect the world and grow an ego. Let me help y'all learn from my mistakes. You see, we like to tell ourselves all the reasons on why we can't succeed. It's bullshit. Any girl can win in this, and I mean any girl. It's not about who has the biggest ass or tits, who has the sexiest smile, or who runs their hands down a guy's pants. Although some girls do that and they think we'll give them a leg up on others. But the reality is, it's always about the girl and the relationship you build with the customer. All that wanna dance routine right away or grabbing people at the door has to stop. Again, if you believe it works for you, keep doing it. But if you plan to be in the game for a minute and care about long-term success, you have to at least act like you give a fuck. I mean, if you don't give a fuck, like I hear girls all the time, they're fucking ruthless. Like they're just like, these guys spend all their money. They think they have a chance. These girls make them think they have a chance. I mean, I get it. It's the fantasy, but like some of these girls make promises they can't keep. They say things they don't mean. And, it's fucked up. And then they go and they like bash the guy like after they get like have him spend all his money. And I mean, like I've felt bad before about like, I remember one guy I had, and I think I've wrote about this. You guys will probably hear it, but like basically he spent like basically all his fucking money on me. And I felt like bad after. I even went up to one of the hosts, like one of the guy hosts in the club. I was like, hey, like this guy spent this money. Like I actually feel really bad. I feel like I should give him some back. And he was like, nah, like he fucking made that decision. He did that shit, bro. Like don't feel bad. Fuck these dudes. I'm like, bro. It's fucked up. Anyways, sure, the quick tactics work for some, but most men are turned off by it. And like I said, like all these girls going up and be like, wanna dance, like right away, grabbing people at the door. In Vegas, it's very common. A lot of other places, I don't see it as much. But in Vegas, it's like when a group walks in, even one guy, you go and you grab them. You grab them as quick as you fucking can because these girls like are vultures. And I never liked doing that. Again, I never liked going up to people in general, and then I got used to it. So I never liked going up right when people walked in the door, but I have before, but it always takes a certain approach. I cannot just go grab their arm and be like, hey, if I do that, if I go up to a guy, which I didn't start doing until 2022, if I go up to the door, because I became so confident, go up to the door, grab a guy's arm, say, don't worry, I'll protect you. And like, just shit like that, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta stand the fuck out. Okay, so sure, the tactics work for some, but most men are turned off by it. The sole reason I made money tonight was because of the simple approach I took. Do you want to know what it was? I literally went up to this gentleman. Mind you, he was in the middle of what looked like an intense conversation, so I almost considered going somewhere else. But I gently tapped his knee, and he turned around so damn quick, I think he startled me more than I startled him. Laughed my ass off. Anyways, all I said was, hi, how are you? First of all, why the fuck would I say, hi, how are you? I'm actually mad at myself for saying, hi, how are you? Because I never fucking say that. I don't remember what I used to say in 2019, but hi, how are you? Like, that's the quickest way for them to fucking reject you. Let's see what else happened. Okay, boom, that's it. I do have a lot of other ways I'll approach people that I know set me aside from more than 75% of the girls, and I'm more than happy to teach it in my future blog posts. I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, well, I say the same thing to hundreds of customers and I never made that much. I'm right there with you. I've said, hi, how are you, to hundreds of people and never made that much until last night. I was extremely lucky to have approached who happened to be the leader of the group. If you're a stripper, you know this. There is no better fucking feeling than taking the risk of you're analyzing a group of men coming in. And whether they're suited and booted or in regular clothes doesn't matter, right? You're trying to figure out just by how people are acting, like who is the leader, who's the bachelor, who's the money man, who is like the CEO, like who is the one that has the fucking money that's gonna spend it. And it's so hard to gauge it sometimes. Sometimes you can kind of tell, like the more fun one, even if they're not the CEO or the bachelor or whatever, they want to have a fun time, right? But bro, when you get the leader, when you're sitting with the guy and like, oh, what are you guys here for? He'll be like, oh, my bachelor party. Oh, your bachelor party, congratulations. Oh my God. Like, yes, you already know you're about to secure that bag most of the time. All right. So I was extremely lucky to have approached who happened to be the leader of the group. He was the boss of almost all of them and the one paying for everything. That's rare. Doesn't happen a lot. It takes time to find a unicorn, but once you do, it's the best thing in the world, and fuck, it's phenomenal. But it all starts with the, hi, how are you? Or just no more of the, wanna dance, or grabbing people on the way in. Like, none of that. So next time you go into work, just start with a simple, hi, how are you? Smile. Be interested. Act like you give at least 2 fucks. Secure the bag, Ruby. I don't know why the fuck I finished it like that, but I'm continuing to read, and it literally says, best night ever story, part 1. Like, clearly, at the time, this was my best night ever. Then, I think, right before COVID hit, in January of 2020, I had the best night ever. And that one was like 5,000. And then I didn't have another night like that until 2021, I want to say. Maybe even 2022. But then I've had like $6,000 nights, $7,000 nights, multiple $5,000 nights after that. And then I'll tell you guys the best one in a future episode. All right. So part 1. The stripper gods have a plan for you. On my best night in stripper history, I told myself, nothing can kill my vibe. I know that some nights, before we even go into work, we have these weird gut feelings that it's not going to be a good night. Wednesday, I told myself I'd have a good night, was positive and in a great mood. That Wednesday was my best Wednesday I'd ever had at that club, which was about $1,200. Thursday, I had an awkward feeling about how it'd go, and I made under $1,000, which I never like to do. Friday was good vibes and made over $1,000 as well. Now, Saturday was fucking crazy. The vibes were high, and I know people could feel that in every person I talked to. They could feel like my energy. They could feel that I was in a good mood and that I wanted to, like, you know, have a good time and wanted to make sure they had a good time. The first person I talked to really took a liking to me. Successful lawyer in the area who said my personality was great. We ended up getting a couple floor dances and he tipped me well. I wanted to get him to a VIP room with me for a while, but he was on the edge. Wasn't sure if he was ready. I actually remember this guy. When I think about my best nights, I only think about the person that made my night the best night. Usually it's one person, right? And I've done good nights where it's like compiled of multiple people, but like the best nights, you remember that one person. So I forgot that I had even made money before this one guy. And I don't only make money from one person every night. It all depends, right? It does only take one. Like everyone says, it only takes one. But it also helps the more you get other people as well. Like the little wins matter as well. And I remember this lawyer. He was a criminal lawyer, actually, which is kind of funny. We were talking about that. And I used to come to work so early. And I still did, like even at the end. Like I would go into work as early as possible because I just wanted to like just ease myself into it and like get used to it and just kind of get on a roll. So I said, I'm not the type to wait around for an answer right there. I'll usually take a lap and talk to new people. I'll come back about 10 minutes later once I finish some other conversations unless someone else decides to spend more money. Choose your battles wisely, ladies. So this guy wasn't ready to spend. I walk around, take some laps. I'll usually go back and check on them if they're alone, if I'm really not getting success anywhere else. But if I end up like talking to someone else and like obviously it takes me to a room and I'm going to continue, this is like my new like project, like this new guy, right? Opposed to like the first one. I don't want to keep like crying over spilled milk, you know, and keep trying to beat a dead horse. So I ended up meeting another guy who I could tell is the room type. You know, the type of guy that'll just spend money on one of the first girls that come up to him and talk to him. While I was talking to him, he had really bad... I'm fucking weak. He had really bad cotton mouth and had to go get a drink from the bar. He literally couldn't hold out any longer. So I said, I'll wait over here with your party. Obviously, when you let a guy walk away from you alone, you take the chances of them finding someone else. It was a chance I was willing to take that night, I guess. So a couple minutes later, I look over at the bar and I see him at the bar talking to another girl. No surprise there. I started looking for the lawyer I was talking to before, and he's at the bar as well. I was ready to go back up to him and secure that VIP, but he was talking to someone new as well. Damn. It's going through my head like crazy. So I start talking to some random guy at a table and have a conversation with him, basically waiting to hear a no so I could tell... basically waiting to hear a no because I could tell he wasn't ready for a dance. So I walk around again and find someone new. In my last post, I talk about him and about how I approach him, basically like the last few minutes. My approach and just saying, hi, how are you, is what helped me make the $4,000 that night. But we also had a lot in common. We talked about Dallas, other strip clubs, travel, and hit it off right away. I don't remember where he's from. I want to say Montana. We talked about Dallas because he used to go to strip clubs in Dallas a lot for work, I guess. Is he from Montana? He's from some fucking like random ass state. Okay? Not like one of the popular ones. I could tell he was the room type, but also wasn't the type to do things right away. So I basically told him I'll be back once again, took a lap. Now that I think back to it, I leave my guys alone a lot, which I should probably not do as much because I can truly fuck up my game if another girl chooses to go up to them and stay. Like I said, some girls will literally wait around. Like, they'll be talking to a guy, and then, like, when the conversation's over, they know the guy's gonna spend money regardless. They just kind of, like, wait around, like, chill, drink, talk to the guy's friends, talk to the other strippers that are at the table, like if they're their friends or if they have something in common, and like they'll just wait it out. Because if there's a group of guys and like one's a spender and he wants his boys to be with him in like a big private room, like he's gonna take everybody and he's gonna pay for all his friends. That means all the girls are gonna get paid. That means you're gonna get paid probably the most because you got the leader. So it's like, I used to leave my guys alone a lot. I'll be like, oh, I'll take a lap because I don't want to continue to start a conversation. But now I realize that staying and continuing to have a conversation and like fucking working to come up with new questions and like trying to find new things to talk about is going to help you build a connection with them and going to help them like you more and want to take you at the end of the day. But again, sometimes you got to know when to walk away. Like if like officially ask the question, you know, like if they're not ready yet, be like, okay, do you want me to come back? And then if they do, then fuck it, just come back. Or maybe put one of your friends on and ask her, like, hey, if he likes you, like, have him take both of us. Something like that. Just, you know, strategize, whatever. So, but when I was walking away from this guy, I saw he was watching me. He definitely was interested. So I did walk away from him, but I could tell that he was interested. I went up to another guy, a younger local in the area that was actually pretty cool. We had a good conversation and he took me to the VIP room for about 10 minutes. So as I'm like waiting to go get this money man, I ended up making some money in the process in a VIP for 10 minutes. And then when I came back, my guy was back. Oh my God, this is fucking hilarious. So I go to that VIP room, right? Then guess who I find? The lawyer in a more expensive room with the girl from the bar. Fuck you. Fuck you, lawyer. Oh my God. Then the guy with the cotton mouth with the girl as well in another room. Double fuck you. This is fucking fucked up. I said, but this is good. I told myself, my time will come. Tonight's going to be a good night. And I cannot tell you how many times, and I'm sure all of you girls can relate that have danced or that do dance. You will be talking to a guy that you think is interested in you. Maybe he even got a couple dances from you. You'll go and you'll get a VIP with a completely different guy later in the night, and you'll find those same guys you were talking to in the same room or in a different room, spending more money or whatever, or being in their multiple rooms back to back. And it's like sometimes there's just nothing you can do. You can always try to get them afterwards, like when they're back at the bar, back on the floor. You can go up to them and be like, hey, like, you know, I saw you with other girls. When is it going to be my turn? You know, like something like that. But, you know, sometimes if they don't fucking want you, they just don't want you. And you just got to hustle it out. I told myself my time will come. Tonight's going to be a good night. Yeah, I know I'm saying a lot of fuck yous, but I really didn't care all that much. I'm really just thinking about how I can prevent that from happening next time. So once I leave the room with the younger guy, I go back to the gentleman I left with his friends. He was so excited to have me back. He introduced me to his friends and asked me to talk to the couple for a little bit to help them loosen up. So there was a couple that worked with him, and the dude was cool, but sometimes the ladies are a little on edge, and this woman like only came because the boss is like her client. And this happens in Vegas all the time, right? So like these people that own big companies that come out for conferences, there's constantly vendors trying to get their business, or like maybe they're trying to get someone else's business. So where do you take them? You take them to a nice fancy dinner, you take them out to the club, you spend everything on them, you spend all your money on them. They don't spend a dime, right? You want to earn their business. Or you take them to the strip club. And it looks like this couple just came to be able to kind of show the boss, like, hey, you know, we're cool. Like, and the girl was like asking me all these questions. She was asking me all these questions about like, so do you even like it? Like, isn't it weird? Like, don't they touch you? Like me and her had a good conversation. She was keeping me busy for a while while the boss was like talking to his people, like getting out what he needed to get out before I took his ass upstairs. So, but it's funny. He had me talk to this couple, But he was tipping me under the table for the next hour. So I was literally sitting with him for like an hour, but he was tipping me the entire time, which is fucking amazing. I totally forgot about that. Then what happened next was absolutely insane. I literally put this in parts. So like I had part 1, part 2. I'm just going to do the whole thing. So welcome back, y'all. If you haven't already read part 1, you can do that by clicking here or not. Haha. Either way, it's going to be an interesting post. You guys, I don't know where the fuck I do this shit, bro. What the fuck? So where did I leave off? Oh yeah, he was tipping me for my time every 5 to 10 minutes. Then we decided to take a walk back towards where the rooms were. So basically I wanted to take him like a tour. One of the clubs that I worked at was huge. We had like these big ass rooms where the doors shut. Like there's a huge, I don't want to describe it too much because then everyone's going to know, but it's okay. So he basically let me lead the way and told me to show him how everything works. Yes, I was extremely excited, but obviously you got to manage the emotions because you never know if he's really packing like you think. We went to a private area that was around $400 to $600 an hour, all profit, by the way. So the club doesn't take any. But usually they do have to buy like drinks or champagne. It's a requirement in almost every club. But he still wanted to do something more private. So I took him to a private area that we could do an hour, which is like a downstairs area where there's no doors and there's not like curtains either. It's just kind of like dark and private. So I took him to a different section where we could actually have full rooms with a door. So we walk up there, and with no problem at all, he gets a full hour with me. But that's just the beginning, folks. As we're sipping on champagne, dancing, and talking, he mentions how he'd like all of his friends to come up and hang out with us. Even better. See how I said these money guys, they want all their friends. They might do an hour by themselves at first. And, they may stay with you for like the next 3 hours. But if they're with a bunch of people, they probably want their friends to be up there with them, and they want to take care of them as well. It's great to get rooms, ladies, but if they bring friends, you have more opportunity to socialize and not feel like you constantly are on your toes with all the pressure to impress. Because if you're with this guy, you constantly have to keep him like going. You basically are thinking like when the first hour starts, okay, how can I get a second hour? Like you want to dance for him. You want to make sure he has a good time. You want to have him drinking champagne, not getting too drunk, obviously, but you want him to like feel loose and like really enjoy you. But then when the second hour comes, you want him to stay. And when friends come in, as long as the friends aren't fucking cock blocks and like, come on, bro, let's go. You don't need to spend all that money. Like fucking dicks. Like, why would you say that? You're dumb. Like, fuck you. Like, I hate those people. Like, let them have some fun, bro. Anyways, as long as the friends aren't complete dick cock blocks, then yeah, it's great. And then that way you can socialize and you can move around and, you guys can all have fun. Shortly after that, we go down to get the friends that are left and tell them to bring one girl. Each friend needs to bring one girl. We head upstairs for another full hour, $600 per girl. This shit is about to get cray. So at that year, this club had like base prices. Like you can only like make this much per hour. A lot of clubs in the last few years after the pandemic have really evolved where girls can basically make their own price. There's like a max, like if it's fucking ridiculous, like, and the guy's never been in the club before and he's like hammered, like more than likely the manager isn't going to let you charge that much. But if the guy is like pretty like coherent, we could get up to like $2,500 an hour, like in one of the clubs that I worked at, which is great. You could even get more, honestly, but it just depends. So I said, but then his card stops working and going through. Time for my solution-oriented skills to come in. Because I was like the fucking queen at like calming people down. Let's call the bank. Let's tell them it's not fraud because it's not. Let's make sure that this shit doesn't happen again. This man had like the Amex Platinum or the Amex Gold, like the unlimited card, right? Like basically it doesn't get declined almost ever. So it was just a matter of like him getting it approved, but he was getting fucking, he was so sensitive. It was so cute. He was sensitive and he was like, oh my God, like I just want to take care of you. Like, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, I'm so flattered right now. Like, let me help you, right? So anyway, quick tip for all the ladies. If you can help in any way, do it. You can't be like touching the screen for him, typing in all this shit. You need to make sure he does it. You can't be on the phone with the banker, but you can tell him what to do. Like you can walk him through it because if they haven't really been in this situation before, they don't really know what to do, and you don't want to have to constantly keep calling back and doing the wrong shit. So don't just wait around and start with the disappointed faces. Show them what to do and how to call or text the bank to get it approved without seeming pushy or hungry for the money. My guy was getting really disappointed when the bank wasn't responding, but I told him to just stay positive and that it was all going to go through. Then, boom. The waitress walked in with a smile and said, "You guys are all good. Have fun." Oh, yes, we will. I'm so fucking corny. So how did I get another 3 hours aside from the first 2 plus a 1K tip? So I got 5 hours total with this guy plus a 1K tip at the end. I literally went downstairs with him as I'm about to walk him out because he gets like complimentary limo service back to the hotel. And I was like, okay, I'm going to ask you for one more thing before you leave. I was like, a tip. He's like, okay, how much do you want? And I was like, okay, 1K. He was like, okay. I really should have asked for more knowing what I know now, but it's fine. And at that time in 2019, one of my rules was to never give away my phone number. So I never gave this guy my phone number. So I don't even think I remember his name. I don't remember where he's from, obviously. I don't know if he ever came back to Vegas, but I do know he's successful, and I never saw him again after that, at least not that I can remember, which sucks. Now, like, after the pandemic, I started to give away, like, a secondary number, kind of like a Google phone number, just so that way I could keep up with people that come back into town, which is actually pretty smart. But yeah, fucking fumbled that bag for sure. Did not secure that one. Only that one night. So I basically was like, oh, how'd I get that 1K tip? It's simple. You gotta care. My guy could not stop saying thank you to me for making sure all his guys had girls with them, for helping him with his bank, and just having a good time. And to answer any assumptions for y'all, I don't do drugs. I don't do any favors. I don't do anything that goes against the rules I set for myself. If you're reading this and don't have rules for yourself, I'll write a separate post about how I operate and why setting boundaries are so, so, so important. If you fall... Oh, here we go. This is the quote. I was thinking about this quote because this made me... if you don't... Oh my God, I literally already put it in the second paragraph. I'm literally about to say this quote of like what I know, and it's already in the fucking second paragraph. I'm fucking dumb. I heard this saying once: if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. It's beyond true in this industry. With my 4K night, it was a combination of me going up to the right guy at the right time with the right approach. It's funny because later that night, he told me how when he came in, he thought he was going to get a tall blonde with huge fake tits. I don't have fake tits. My tits are actually pretty small. Like, they're not anything special, so that made me feel good. That's nowhere close to me. Just shows that no matter what they think they want, you can be the difference maker. Secure the bag. Ruby. So at the time, that was my best night ever. And one of my favorite things about that night, besides the money, obviously, was the fact that nothing bad happened. Like, I think there was... I want to say one guy that came with us, one or two, and then the other one like went home after like the first hour with all the guys because he was just tired. He went back to the hotel. So there was like 3 girls and 2 guys after like the second or third hour. And one of the girls was from Miami, I think, and my guy, the main guy, didn't really like her. So I had, like, when she went to the bathroom, I feel so bad about this too. This was like, mind you, my selfish days where I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, as long as my guy's happy, like, she's out. So I went to like the host and I was like, hey, we don't want the Miami girl anymore. Like, she already made like 2 bands. She already made like $2,000 off of this guy and really didn't have to do shit. So she was gone, but then it was me and another girl that I still remember to this day. I just haven't seen her in forever, but me and her were in there and she was cool. She taught me like a pole trick. But yeah, one of my favorite things about that room was that the guy was so nice. Nothing went wrong, right? Like, sometimes it's like everything's great at the beginning, but then by the end, like, either they're too coked up and they become paranoid and fucking assholes, or like they try to get their money back at the end, or they're too aggressive, or like any of that, you know? And this guy was literally, like, he was perfect. And if every guy could be like him, I mean, there's a lot of good guys that I've had that I can tell you about examples of. But this was my first real experience where I made a lot of money. And he was just, like, such a stand-up guy. And he was happy to spend it. So that made me happy. He didn't seem like he regretted it at all. He didn't seem like he had a bad time. He literally was, like, raving about it. And the host gave him his card. And hopefully he did come back. I hope he still goes to the strip clubs. because the girls need to meet more people like him. But yeah, no, that was my best night back in 2019. That was the first time I experienced that much money in one night. And that was when I was at a cap for how much I could make per hour. And then after that cap was released, it was fucking sky's the limit, baby. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I'm glad you guys got to hear one of the first episodes of it being one of my best nights. So if you have any questions, make sure to put them below. Subscribe so you get to see all the podcast episodes or hear them every single week. And I'll see you guys next time.